Tony says the fire's almost ready.
Oh, yo. She played the mother in Goodfellas, right? Who was popping off.
With that mommy dearest around? Never again, I swore it.
Which is exactly what she wanted. You played right into her hands with that.
She said it was a mistake. Tony would get bored with you.
I mean, he did. He did get bored.
Who's Anthony look like to you right now?
Dad?
Some family reunion. The woman who birthed them all is barred from the premises.
I don't think you should get too close, Janice. What you tried to do to Tony.
I have no fantasies about my mother. You know he's trying to sell the house?
What house?
Ma's house.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Don't get involved.
180 grand he's asking for that place. Like he needs that.
Well, I'm glad someone's taking charge. He'll get your cut.
Ma's not dead yet. And there's no will. I mean, Ma still has rights.
No, oh, word? That's what you worried
Tony
about?
pays for a retirement home, for the upkeep on her car.
No, she did it.
What the fuck?
I am sure there's an explanation.
Oh, there is. There is. She came here for the house and a $400 car. That was the con from the first. Still a little fat kid to her. What does she think? She's gonna stop the house sale by picking up one fucking sign? She were here, I'd be bouncing her fucking head against the wall.
Look at how angry you are. What do you care about that house? When are you getting back into therapy?
Hey, don't start with that. And I am not overreacted, because you don't know. You don't know this wretched little book yacht.
All right, all right.
Fucking
Tony,
bitch.
go ahead. Go have a beer.
I know that one.
Fuck you doing?
Second seating coming up.
Fucking moron.
Oh, look at my wife over there. No, wait, Tone. The neighbor St. Bernardo's on your property.
Oh.
You can't get good pussy. But I know Mulberry Street when I was a kid. Now I got out there, these guys with power.
That's going to be hanging there, that whole pussy situation.
So when do we get to roll with Tony?
Gotta work our way up, get introduced.
Use cat motherfuckers together.
What the
Nah,
fuck?
he's too big for that. He doesn't get his nails dirty.
Doing?
Does Tony ever talk about us?
No.
You leave my gas burner on? I almost lit a cigarette. I could have died.
I apologize.
Why you can't use a lighter to cook your shit like normal people is beyond me. They're still gonna kiss your ass. They don't care if you're junkie.
Oh.
Sit down, sit down.
Hate you, fucking pig. Get off me.
You fucking whore.
Whore?
Yeah, that's it. Go home, get my dinner ready.
Just like little kids, like, oh, awkward.
Don't yell. Don't scream. All cutlery stays right where it is.
One of my patients committed suicide because I wasn't available to her. You know what that means to me? She's gone. She's in the ground because of you.
Oh, I don't deserve your help. I hate your fucking system, I told you.
Fuck you.
But I got a family. And believe it or not, they're better off with me than without me. I drove off the road a couple days back.
You look fine.
Yeah, babe. You always told me if I was driving or something happened.
That was a different time for us.
She is not fucking with Tony at all.
Maybe you can recommend somebody else.
I would never. How many more people have to die for your personal growth?
I swear to Jesus Christ, nobody got killed because of you.
You literally called her and said, everything is good. You're safe now, right? Like,
Get out of my life. What are you doing home at this hour? I thought it was AJ home from school.
Yeah.
Want a little cold pasta? I can microwave it.
Looks good.
You want cheese? Something to drink?
No. Sit down.
first, let me start by saying don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure to hit the notification bell. Shout out to all the new viewers. Shout out to all the subscribers. And I have a Patreon with full-length early reactions to things like this. If you'd like to, check it out. So I want to start going like person by person real quick, okay? So let's start with Chris. This is interesting to see in the second season because when we first meet Chris, he's a soldier. And he's like, I put in enough work to get made. Okay. So that was his whole thing. Is like, damn, I'm stuck in this sort of limbo. Right? Okay. But now we see him in a different position. He's a middle manager in every sense of the word. Okay? Like on some gangster shit, he's a middle manager. But they have him working in the office. So for someone like Chris and somebody in that line of work, that would seem almost like a demotion. Right? But the thing is, as Tony said, like, you basically got to run a family from underground. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be what it used to be. Okay? And you saw that, interestingly, when they're attempting to do what they do, and a guy isn't selling what they need him to sell, and you have these two goons just handle it how they normally handle it. They just toss coffee in his face. And then just start pouncing him out. And then they take a letter opener to the fucking throat of the goddamn actual manager there. Now, they're handling it how they normally handle things, but they're being stupid and reckless. But they're young. They're good workers, right? They even showed, when Chris is talking to them, they showed how, like, they have potential in this line of work, right? Like, he was able to just rattle off everything he was told about how this scam is going to work. Then when Chris is letting them know, my man finished, like, we don't want them running to the SEC. So, like, they know that, but they're young. They sort of move off impulse. They know what's right and wrong. They're moving off of impulse, okay? But Chris has to handle that and make sure it's done a certain way. You saw Tony. When Tony's speaking to Chris, I'm like, yo, he's sweating. And there was just little signs throughout the episode, like that he hasn't been dealing with his therapy. You know what I mean? And like things have gotten like bad for him. Certain things have started to creep back up. Now, with Chris, though, the fact that he has an argument in front of the two goons with his girl, she like, you left my gas on. They could have blown up the house. She's like, why you can't just cook in front of the, like with a lighter like everybody else? And she's like, okay, who cares if they know you're a fucking fiend, right? And it's like, he popped her and she popped him back. Yeah, in front of them two. Now, look how hungry those two. Think about, this puts it into perspective also. Think about where those two young ones are. Chris isn't there anymore. Chris is right on the edge of becoming a made guy. Like if the book's open, he probably is made. And so think about that. He's been in their position. He's been wanting to be a guy. Like he wanted to be a made man ever since. Like he was one of them. And all the way until now, he's been dealing with that. And you just see it on his face. He's just, I wonder if at any point will he talk to somebody. You know what I mean? He almost seemed kind of disappointed in that last season. He could accept that Tony was having issues and stuff. But the fact that Tony spoke to someone about it, it almost sort of made it seem like in his eyes, he had more of a problem with that than Tony having issues. Because he's like, I have issues. So I would assume Tony probably had something. That makes sense. But the fact that Tony had to speak to someone, at least at first, it seemed as if Chris felt a certain way about that. So Chris is an interesting character. Uncle Junior, the feds playing games, right? They want him to, they might think about letting him out or medical because they want Tony to act. Okay. Well, Tony took out the guy who heads up Uncle Junior's squad now. And that motherfucker had a big mouth. They had to get rid of him. Why? Because he was saying all sorts of things, even down to Tony seeking therapy and the therapist. So he got popped. Tony gets on the phone and calls her and says, hey, you good to come back now? How did you get my fucking phone number? Like, are you following me? Are you watching me? And she's, of course, she's rightfully paranoid, right? Then we have Tony's sister. Sisters. We've heard about them. And I knew of the one sister because she's a Totoro, which is dope, right? Because that's them motherfuckers act their ass off, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think. Well, let's not get into that here because I was about to say how many films that they have been in that I fuck with. But the sister, she left. All of the family would have liked to just left that situation. They wouldn't want to be around the mom. But Tony is a man, and he's also in the family business. So he is the one who ends up staying and taking the brunt of it. But the other sister, I believe it's Barbara. Was it Barbara and Jackie? One moment. Let me see if I remember these correctly. Janice and Barbara. Okay, let's see. Back to what I was saying. Janice and Barbara. Barbara, right? You saw her. She shows up with her family and stuff. Janice is such a free spirit. Everything about that character. Like, when you look at how she walks, she just lets her hair just sort of sway. She almost doesn't even care about her posture. You know what I mean? Like, everything down to that character, you're like, oh, I know this character, right? She lived in a commune in Seattle, right? You can't get no further away from Jersey and what the family business is, or just how that family is. So she comes back and she tries to act a certain way, but we knew she wanted something. She at the least wants to make sure she gets her money when the mom is passing. And the reason it became even more clear is Tony has an issue with the mother. Janice comes and talks to Tony outside while they smoking. And at no point did she seem to like delve too much into that situation. Well, I know how it goes. But what she delved into is the house. She delved into was the car, right? So we knew that. And she just doesn't care so much. She left that sign in the fucking car, and it's like, who knows? Maybe the kids might have knocked it down into something, but I feel like Tony and Carmela would have seen that when they came, and they would have put it back up. So I feel as if that girl took that sign down because she don't want it to be sold, which is like some scumbag shit, right? For her to be, and Barbara knows what's up. She's like, let Tony handle it. You stay out of it. It's interesting. She almost seems like the perfect sister for the situation, and Janice seems like the worst sister for the situation. But it was dope to see them all come together. Don't even know them two, but to see Tony happy to be with his two sisters, it was dope. As happy as he can be, because it's a mask, right? We'll get into that later on. Big Pussy showing up. In the first season, you're like, well, where could he have gone and why would he leave? And it was something so simple and so easy, right? I thought you motherfuckers was going to kill me. But it also coincided with his doctor hooked him up with a way, like, yo, you need to go rest. Place in Puerto Rico will help you out. There's a chick he met and all this. Sounds like a far-fetched story. Tony can't take no chances. For one, it's just mob rules. But then there's also the thing of he's a leader now. Feds after him. Uncle after him. Other people may see weakness in the family. They may be after him, right? There's a bunch of enemies they may have. So he has to be careful. So even down to when they hug and Pussy is like, the fuck? Like, he wants to still make sure there's not a wire on him. I understand that. And later on, when Paulie comes and tells him, hey, everything checks out, it's like, oh, Tony would have been irresponsible had he not checked on to find out if what Pussy was saying was true. Right? So I expected that. But as I said, that's going to be something gnawing at him this whole time. Their friendship will never be the same again. It can't be. And especially with the mental issues that Tony has, that's just one more thing he has to deal with. So when you see him sitting there and he calls that man an idiot, he sort of lashed out. It was something he was pushing down, came out of that moment. And then, you see him looking at Pussy, and who knows if we can still trust Pussy? Who knows? In fact, I don't trust him. I had a reason for it earlier while I was talking, and I can't think about it, but it was something that I sort of like noticed. Oh, it just seems like, I understand y'all are boys and stuff, but it seems as if he's almost too eager himself to come back, knowing that they wanted to kill him. He just seems too okay with the situation now. It's like, well, bygones are bygones, right? You see the way Tony is checking to see if everything is good. Pussy doesn't seem to really be doing that. It's like, well, yeah, he came and talked to Tony, but that wouldn't be enough for me. Would that be enough for y'all? Like, I'm gonna get the okay from the big guy, and that'll settle it, right? Okay. Let's see. It was dope to see Carmela and her mom, and they chose the right person for it. She was in Goodfellas, and then the dude, the young goon, he was in Bronx Tale, which is a dope film. I remember my grandpa had me watch it for the first time. We have Carmela and her parents, and you see where her parents come from. They Italian, but they a certain type of Italian, and they like she already knows what's up, and she has problems with that family as a whole, right? Like the mom, we already know what the mom probably said about him. And then she talked about how they were told straight up, yeah, wait till he gets bored with you. And Carmela, it's also interesting to me that Carmela keeps, Tony, you need to talk to somebody. Tony, you need to talk to somebody. I feel like Carmela is scared to talk to somebody outside of the Catholic Church because she knows they would probably have them questioning that whole relationship and would probably have her asking herself, should I stay? And it's interesting that they have that all over the face of this character. It's almost this thing of like, yeah, she'll go talk to a priest because the priest is not going to be like, hey, divorce him. Nah, it's like, hey, work through the marriage and all this blah, blah, blah. But she keeps saying, Tony, you need to talk to somebody. Tony, Carmela, hello, you need to speak to someone also, right? Who knows if she even is? I would be surprised if we find out later on that she had been secretly speaking to someone. But I just feel like it would have her questioning the relationship in a way that she's not ready to because she's already questioned it, right? Let's see. There's something else I want to talk. Tony, let's go to Tony. Okay. We knew this was going to happen. He hasn't been speaking to a therapist. And as I said, he probably more than likely has not been getting prescriptions. So I see him sweating and I'm like, oh, they did that on purpose, right? But they didn't really say nothing about it. So you're picking up on them cues. This is how you know that the show is good and that you sort of understand the characters because you're noticing things such as that they're throwing in there. It's not just outright, hey, he's going through something, right? They get to that point, though. They're like, if you didn't get it before, you're going to get it now when he crashes the car, when he crashes the truck, right? And then when he goes and he speaks to Dr. Melfi. Well, no, let's start here. First, he goes and speaks to the one therapist. And I talked about this. It was dope to see him interacting with someone who's not Dr. Melfi because it's like, oh, it worked. That was a way of showing us, even we'll get into what the doctor said and all that, but the fact that he was receptive to even another person that was talking back and forth with him, had that guy been open to being his therapist, that would have worked out. But that only takes place because of the groundwork that Dr. Melfi laid, right? When my guy invoked, analyze this, he's like, I see that. He's like, it's a fucking comedy. Of course, people will be shook. He's like, I know who you are, right? I can't even remember what the name Tony tried to use was. But, yeah. So, Tony, he throws a Hail Mary. He goes and sees Dr. Melfi. Of course, she's shook because the motherfucker shows up while she's trying to hide. If it wasn't clear before that they know everything about you and are following you, it's clear now. And he tries. And she's like, nah. But he makes a mistake in saying something so simple, but it was silly in the situation. Yo, no, I didn't kill. No one was killed because of you, like for you or anything like that. And she's like, man, fuck off. He called her, letting her know. You understand, in her mind, she understands the finality of that. And also the whole thing of her not being able to help her clients because of him. It's one person that is causing the other one. Somebody committed suicide because of him. She's right to feel this way. She's right to feel this way. So when Tony leaves, he looks lost. The look in his face is like, so now what? And even when he walks into the house, he looks lost. But it was just something so dope of seeing Tony and Carmela just be husband and wife. She goes to Old Faithful, hey, you want me to heat you up some pasta? And then he goes and does what he does. And He eats and he tells her to sit down. And it's almost this thing of, yep, right now you're all I got. But it's with her, it's like, I mean, with her, that's what it is. It's almost, you're all I got. And she just responds, I mean, right? Like her going and doing the mail right in front of him like that after he told her to sit down, it was interesting because at that moment, that's who he got right now. One sister is trying to live her life, do what she has to do. The other sister, we already see, she's scumbag, it looks like. His gang, his set, the motherfuckers, right? Like they look up to him. He can't confide in them really. Like they his boys, but at this moment, that's none of that. He's in charge. So right now, it's just him and Carmela. So that was an interesting final scene. Hey, another dope first episode, another dope episode. Almost 20 minutes of talking. Next episode.